Hi, today I'm talking about perfectionism. You probably got here from my email list, so thank you for subscribing. I am doing this in one take. I'm going to try to just do this without having perfectionism take the wheel. It'll still come up, but I'm not going to let it take the wheel. So, I wanted to get a little bit more into the strategy that I discussed. So, the strategy that can battle that perfectionism is clearly defining what is good enough. So, for example, for this video that I'm making right now, again, I didn't prep for this, I'm just jumping right in. I'm going to define what is good enough. So, basically, all I want to do is talk about the strategy. Okay. I mentioned the strategy. I already did that. And then I want to give an example, or I want to give a few examples. So, I'm going to talk about me right now, which I'm doing. Then I want to talk about an adult, and then I want to talk about a kid. Okay. So I already talked about the strategy. The strategy is to define clearly what's good enough. When we have perfectionism and it comes up, I got lots of texts. Turning that off. When we have perfectionism, oftentimes there's like this vague idea that, okay, I could do it better. It could be better than it is. Let's just keep trying. Let's keep trying. Let's keep trying. For example, for this video, I could say, I want it to be just perfect. I want there to be like no glare on my glasses. I want to put a ringlet on so that I look nice. I should wear a different outfit, blah, blah, blah. I should make sure my phone isn't beeping in the background. But actually, what's good enough is making an outline, figuring out what I'm actually going for in this video, and then just execute on that. Because if I let that idea of, oh, it has to look a certain way, I have to like have a perfect face of makeup on, I have to make sure there are no extra sounds in the background, what that actually does is just makes it so that I don't ever complete this. I don't ever actually make this video. So anyways, okay, so now I know I talked about me. Okay, now I'm going to give another example of another adult who might have perfectionism. So let's say there's a project you have to do for work and you like really don't want to do it. Like I'm trying to think of an example. Like you have to make a presentation for the higher ups and you just can't get started. And oftentimes it's because of this perfectionism and this lack of clarity about what you actually have to do in the presentation. There might be some ideas of like, oh, how many diagrams and graphs and things will I need to have in there? How funny do I need to be? Do I need to make it really polished? Is this going to be something that might go out to customers? Blah, 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 blah. So then if you let yourself get into that mindset and let perfectionism take the wheel, it's going to be really hard to get started on that until it's like the very last minute. You've procrastinated and it's like, well, anything's going to be better than nothing, so I'll just get it done. And really, we could cut out all of that pain and just define what's good enough earlier on. So for this adult, maybe they could say like, okay, what's going to be good enough is I know that I need to have like a slide about these three things. I need to have a slide about this, I need to have a slide about this, and this. Okay, so then I might want to have an introduction to introduce how I'm going to talk about that, and then I might want to have a conclusion and a next steps slide. Okay, now I know I'm going to have to hit each of those marks, and then once I've hit those, it's done. It's good enough. Then at that point, I can play around with the formatting, I can make it look a little nicer, but if I have other tasks to get to, I can just say that that's good enough and move on. So that's how defining what good enough can help an adult. That's an example of that. Okay, now a last example. We've got a kid, or let's call it like a high school student. Okay, this is a very common one that I like to work on because I specialize in language literacy and executive functioning together. So let's say there's a high school student. They have to write an essay, and they're avoiding doing it. They really don't want to do it. There's a lot of tears, maybe. I don't know how to write. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I hate this. This is going to be so hard. It's going to take forever. For that kid, or for that young adult, I would say, okay, let's define what is good enough. Let's look at the prompt and see, what exactly am I supposed to do? Okay, this is what I'm actually supposed to talk about. All right, that's what the prompt says. All right, now let's come up with an idea or a few ideas for how I could answer that question. Okay, now let's make an outline. Okay, now I can actually see what I'm supposed to write about and where I'm going to get my information in to this paper. So then it's a little bit easier to start. That's not the end of that. Writing still might be hard, and that's why maybe we want to work on other skills. But as far as that perfectionism, that's how we can kind of unhook from it, because we can decide what's actually going to be good enough. And so then there, I did this. And you know what? It feels so good to be done with this task. I could have made a whole outline. I could have made it perfect. I could have whatever. So this video would be nice, but guess what? It's done. And that's good enough for me. Hope you have a wonderful day. And just notice when perfectionism comes up.